My name is Peggy Williams. I grew up with my mother taking us to church every Sunday. So I learned about God at a very young age, and I thought I understood what I was being taught, but actually I never thought that I could have a personal relationship with God. And it wasn't until I was an adult when I learned more about God and that I could have a personal relationship with Him and that my life should be different if I was a believer. I just consumed the Word. I wanted to understand and I wanted to have a relationship and I wanted to obey God. Maybe 4 or 5 years ago, the Holy Spirit, through the reading of the Word, showed me that I was not intentionally following Jesus in a way that my life and my goals were in line with His. I was at church and I decided to volunteer to help teach English to some internationals. I was scheduled to work with one young lady from China, and we were beginning to start, and then I looked up and there's 3 additional international students at the door. So I welcomed them for the next 5 or 6 weeks. Internationals just kept showing up. I began to teach based on how I had been taught the gospel and using words and phrases that we use. And they would very politely listen. They would not ask questions because that was not their culture. And then after about 6 or 7 weeks, they said, "Peggy, could you tell us again what sin is?" And I thought, Lord, I can't believe you put me in a situation where I don't know anything, I don't understand, and now I'm doubting what I'm doing. God equips those that He calls. And I tell you, He does it in real time. It's on the job training. So I started doing some reading and some research. I learned more about honor shame cultures, and I began to teach based on and using words that they would understand and teaching in a way that they could relate to. When I began to read and talk to other people that worked with internationals, things began to open up for the students that God had brought into my life, and some of them came to know the Lord. I do teach English as a second language, and God uses that as a tool for me to build relationship with internationals. I'm doing a Bible study on Monday mornings with 4 Chinese ladies, and they are unbelievers. One of them, she was the one when we start talking about sin and redemption and being born again, that did not understand that she was a sinner. And we talked about what that means. During the week, she called one of the other ladies and said, "You know what? I think I'm a sinner." And 2 weeks after that, she received Christ. I do not have what you would call the gift of evangelism. But one thing I know for sure, it is not our gifts that save people and draw people to God. It is the gospel. Many of us will never be able to go to the mission field, as we call it. But, you know, God is beyond our limitations. He's bringing the world to us. And how can we not respond?